Hey there, day 420 of What's She Up To Now. Just sharing daily. I know it's overkill, but daily, because it's kind of like a daily diary for me too, to keep track of what's working, what's not, what I've done, what I haven't done, what I thought would be a smashing success, but was really an epic failure, what I thought would be an epic failure, and it actually worked out and surprised the daylights out of me. Kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly. So today I'm actually going to set aside and take some time to plan. I've got, we're just finished day 17 of the customer challenge. I want to find some ways to make that sexier, make it interesting. How do I describe it in ways that it really speaks to and appeals to the women business owners that I want to offer it to? This is sort of our beta run through, and it's like anything else. I do it and then I want to continuously improve it. So working with the women to see how and what kind of results we're getting, and then how we can tweak it and change it, and how we can describe it to make it better. Because it really is a cool thing that people can use for their business, but how do we get them to know that it's something that they really want and they need, and they will benefit greatly by having it and doing it for their business. A lot of times we start out as entrepreneurs and we just do everything ourselves, and we don't realize that, hey, life would be a whole lot simpler and easier if we created systems and ways of doing certain things. Anything that I do more than once or twice in my business, I come up with a system or a process for doing it. Number one, it adds consistency. Number two, it makes it faster and easier to do. Number three, I don't make mistakes. Number four, I can teach somebody else how to do it and I can delegate it. All good things. And number five, I can continuously improve it. I can look at it and I can say, okay, well, that isn't really working anymore. Let's try this. And then I can do that and keep a record and keep track of the changes so I know what I've already done. I don't know, in corporate America, we would do things, and if they weren't documented, you know, you'd go on, and a lot of times I would work for companies that didn't have anything documented. And I would come in and they would say, well, that's just the way we've always done it around here. It's one of my most dreaded sayings, that when I ask somebody, well, why are you doing that? Well, that's just because that's the way we've always done it. I'm like, well, has anybody ever asked if there's a better or faster, easier, more efficient or effective way of doing it? And chances are the answer was no. They hadn't even considered that there was another way of doing something. And I have this belief system that there is always a better way. Somebody else has already come up with a better way of doing anything I could possibly ever imagine. So it's not always figuring it out myself. Maybe it's just finding who's already figured it out and learning from them, so I don't have to go through all the trials and tribulations and struggle of figuring it all out myself. This is a new revelation for me. I've spent a lot of decades just figuring everything out myself, and I'm like, oh my God, why am I trying that hard? So-and-so has been doing this for 20 years. Maybe they could just help me with that piece of it. So planning today. Planning because I've got, after this 30-day challenge of my own, I am teaming up with an amazing woman named Heather Ann Havenwood, and we are doing a 90-day video challenge for women business owners, or for women, not just women business owners, but women who want to be influencers. So maybe they don't have a business yet, but they just want to be an influencer, and they want to, you know, promote other people's products, services, or brands, and use that as a way to generate income for their life. Whatever it is, that is who our next project's for. So I want to actually sit down, and like I do everything else, I want to brainstorm out a list of topics, or not necessarily topics, but things that we want to make sure that we share with them over that 90 days to really enhance their results of doing a 90-day challenge. I'm just winding up. Today is day 351 of a 365-day Facebook Live challenge that I'm doing with only a handful of us are left. That we started April 1st of last year doing that challenge. And I'm doing a 20-day countdown. The last 20 days, I'm saying, well, here's the things that I learned that just really stand out to me from doing this particular activity, from doing this challenge. And some of them were from epic failures of doing Facebook Lives every day. Some of them were from, oh, wow, who would have thought that that would have been a Facebook Live that people actually cared about and watched? Sometimes you don't know what's going to hit. I will say one of the things that I don't have on the list that I've definitely learned is that people respond way more to negative things than they do to positive things. And that has really hit home this year for me, because last year I did a challenge for 410 days in a row of doing one thing every day that scares you. And that had a lot more attention and a lot more people watching it and viewing it and listening to it than what I'm doing this year. I started on January 1st doing one thing a day that makes you happy. And it's interesting that people were more attracted to doing one thing a day that scares them and stretches their comfort zone than they are to doing one thing a day that makes them happy. And that actually makes me kind of sad about the world, because don't we all just want to feel good and be happy? Yet we're not willing to say, I'm going to do something every single day, one little thing every day to make me feel better, to actually focus on what I want, focus on happiness versus, doing one thing a day that scares you. Well, we don't want to be scared, right? So people are more willing to focus on what they don't want than what they do want. Yikes, right? I don't know. I know that, but it's still kind of sad. That's why we're always pushing against what we don't want and fighting what we don't want, and then wondering why the heck we're getting more of it in our life. So planning today, doing some planning for the 90-day challenge, and then I'll hit Heather up and I'll say, hey, what do we want to do? How do we want to do this? We just decided I did a training with her folks for her influencer podcast group, and for a course that she's creating, I did a how do I do my content training. And we talked about it after, okay, well, when do we want to start our 90-day challenge? And I said, well, ideally, I would like to start it April 1st after I finish my 30-day customer challenge. And the 30-day customer challenge will actually finish on the first will be a day 2, because no, there's 31 days in March. Never mind. It will not. That is perfect. April 1st is perfect. There's 31 days in March, so that will finish on day 31, because I always add a bonus day, and then we'll roll right into the 90-day video challenge. And I don't know what we're going to call it. We'll call it some sexy thing, because she is the sexy lady boss, which is amazing to team up with the sexy lady boss. So you've got the pajama grandma in her frumpy peignoir, which kind of started the whole pajama grandma thing, and sexy boss, sexy lady boss. And she's incredible, beautiful, blonde, Texan, amazing woman, tons of energy from the health and fitness industry. And then you've got, a little pajama grandma from the corporate business world of small business, and, the nerdy engineer. So it should be a really fun combination. It should be a really fun endeavor for us and for the people that participate. So what are you doing today? What have you got going today? I'm doing that. I'm doing planning. I'm actually thinking, I was looking at and going through some of the content that I've created before, and I'm thinking I might make a couple of offers based on that, just to spin some things out there and to make some more front end offers for people to get into my world. I want to start doing more course creation and more automatic behind the scenes things, so I can have more freedom in my life than consulting and one-on-one coaching. I love it, but I also want to get away from it, because it does take a lot of time and energy, and I love doing it. It's very rewarding, but I want more of my time and energy back, especially since I've been watching the 3-year-old. It's like, all right, I now have 8 to 10 hours a day that I are tied up or are fragmented pieces of activity than I had, a month and a half ago. So how do I restructure what I'm doing, what I'm offering, my businesses and my life to fit the lifestyle that I want, which is why I am the pajama grandma, because I want to do what I want, where I want, when I want, with who I want, the little 3-year-old, because pretty soon she'll be in school and I won't get access to her. So for the short term, because to me, a year and a half, 2 years is short term. I want to do that. I want to be with the people I love and care about. So how do I structure my life and my businesses and the things that I can offer people to fit around that? So there's probably a book coming up very quickly. So I'm going to talk and look. I'm not going to talk about, I'm going to look at that today and plan, all right, how do I get this book done? What does that look like? And what does then having that book do to create the businesses that I want? Because it's not about writing a book. It's about, because I've written a book before, it's about what and how do I strategically begin creating my content? Because my content has not been very strategic. It's been a lot of it. It's really good, but it's not very targeted. So I'm going to target my content, write a book about the certain content that I'm targeting, and to the group of people that I'm targeting. And I am picking a very, very specific niche group of women that I am targeting, because I feel passionate about helping them, because I was one of them. In my 20s, I was definitely this person. And every once in a while, every few years, I am this person again. And so I know how critical it is to help her to get what she wants and to achieve what she wants and to create the life that she wants. So that is my day, planning, and more packing, because that seems to be the focus of my life. Go out, make it a fantastic day. If you have any questions, go ahead, share them or message me. I'm easy to find. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom, Pajama Grandma. I'm on a lot of platforms. So if you have a hard time finding me, just Google me. If you just Google me, you'll find me. That's it. Have an awesome day. I will, of course, Be with you tomorrow. Bye.